Hello everyone, Jason from misprintedmtg.com, and today I have to show to you Farport. And you may be asking yourself, what is Farport? Well, it is a custom Magic the Gathering set. It is fan-made. It falls under the Wizards of the Coast fan content creation policy. That was produced by Ryan Rooks, who is a pillar of the Magic community in general. I was going to say misprint community, but he really is just a pillar of all of Magic. When it comes to Magic history or Magic accessories, there's no one on the planet who knows more than him. And it's also true for misprints. He is a wizard when it comes to being able to explain what went wrong and why. So this was a passion project of his. He wanted to experience what it was like back when Wizards first made Magic. So he kind of went and made his own set. This was actually a set that he designed when he was younger, but it wasn't until later in life that he wanted to move it into a project that he would realize and get out there to people in the community. One of the really cool things about this project is all proceeds from this product go directly to the March of Dimes charity. He's generated a ton of cash for March of Dimes, and it's an amazing cause. So you guys should all go and get some Farport, and I'll tell you how to do that at the end of the video. One of the cool things about Farport, at least I think it's kind of cool, is that I actually got to make some art for it. A lot of the art was done by Ryan himself, but there were pieces that he commissioned out to actual Magic the Gathering artists. But there are also people in the community, the misprint community, who are artists and offered to make pieces of art for the project. So I'm going to go ahead and show off the cards that I made. I'm not going to show off every card in Farport because one of the cool things about Farport is it's a no spoiler set. That means when you get Farport, you don't know all the cards that you're getting, and that's reminiscent of Magic in the old days. I think that's really cool, and I want to keep that something for you to experience. So without further ado, let's go ahead and show off some cards. And the first thing I'm going to show off is Herding Gug. It is a summon Gug for 0 as a 1/1. You can see the illustration is by me. Herding Gug counts as a green creature. A deck can have any number of Herding Gugs. You may not play Herding Gug if you have already played a Gug this turn, and it bands with other Gugs. That's right, banding. How's that for a mechanic? I'm going to show off the art because I'm proud of it. Now, I'm one of the only artists, actually I think I am the only artist on this project that used 3D illustration to make these illustrations. On some of the other ones, I tried to make them look as painterly as possible to try and give it more of an oil paintery aesthetic. This one was a little more difficult to get that effect with, so we have a pretty traditional 3D illustration. Now, one of the cool things about being an artist on the project was that he didn't tell us anything about the cards. The only thing that we had, information-wise, was the name of the card. We didn't know its casting cost. We didn't know its power and toughness. We didn't know what creature type it was, although most of the times we knew it was, if it was like, you'll see on the other one, there's a frog. I knew I was making a frog. A Gug is actually something that Ryan designed for one of his video game projects, so I had a little bit of a illustrative reference to kind of go off of when creating my version of the Gug. So we have this stupid little Gug staring at a butterfly. I'm going to read the flavor text. This is a very story-rich set. It's about a dude named Sir Mariston who finds himself transported to the magical world of Farport. So there's tons of flavor text. It's all absolutely delicious. Let's see. They were the meanest, ugliest things I've ever seen, and they breed like rabbits. But they are also loyal. They are pets, pests, livestock, and war beasts all in one. Sir Mariston Journals, Volume 3. Alright, next thing we have is Impish Orb. It is an artifact for 4 mana. It has the ability 1 in tap to target creature becomes a 1/1 and gains tap to deal 1 damage to any target until end of turn. Can only be used during any player's upkeep. I love this card. It was a lot of fun to play test and play with. It lets you shrink your opponent's creatures. It lets you turn your creatures into pingers. It's all around just an absolutely fantastic card. Doing the art for it was awesome. This one ended up looking a little more painterly, even though I did use digital 3D to make it. And I really enjoyed this one. I whipped the art out for it real quick. But it's probably my favorite piece of art that I did for the project. Next we have Grimhold Adder for 2 black. It is a summon snake. It is a 1/2 with poisonous 2. All non-wall creatures blocking or blocked by Grimhold Adder are destroyed at the end of combat. That's a pretty sweet ability. That's why this thing costs 4. And let's see. The flavor text says, Sully bade us wear copper leggings before we go through the marsh grass. I could hear their fangs striking the metal. Sir Mariston's Journals, Volume 5. Here is that frog I was talking about. This is a Wobe bark frog. It is green. It is a 1/1 summon frog, poisonous 1. Sacrifice Wobe bark frog, deal 1 damage to target creature. If that creature goes to the graveyard this turn, that creature's controller gets 1 poison counter. This is a really sweet card. I like it. I think it's mechanically very good. It was a lot of fun to make the art for. I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but I actually made Frog kind of chowing down on a person's hand. That's a nod back to a lot of the frogs in Magic the Gathering. Chubtoad, Gitrog, and I think some other frogs too in Magic. If you look at the art, they'll be chowing down on a human. So I wanted to go ahead and represent the same thing in my artwork. And my camera hates focusing. It just hates it. Come on. This was the first piece of art I made for Farport, and actually the first piece of completed Farport art out of all the pieces that Ryan got commissioned and asked for. This is Clockwork Eyeball, 0. A deck cannot begin the game with more than 1 Clockwork Eyeball. Tap to draw a card. Target opponent gains ownership of Clockwork Eyeball and shuffles it into their library. Yes, I do understand the mechanics, but what does it do? Sir Mariston Journals, Volume 4. This was fun. I haven't made a weird, funky, ethereal piece of art like this in a long time, probably since my middle school days. But I made this like big old giant eyeball with a floaty clock thing in the pupil and this dude raising his arms towards it. Yeah, this was fun. And a really cool card. I wish I could have more than one in a deck because, I mean, if I'm giving them away, I'd like to have the option to keep getting them. I don't know. This is an interesting card. High risk, high reward. And I think it's really cool. Wall of Eyes. 2 white for a summon wall. Walls cannot attack. And cameras cannot focus. You may look at face-down creatures that are attacking you. All damage dealt by target unblocked creature is dealt to Wall of Eyes instead. It is a 1/4. This is a pretty cool card. I didn't know it was white. I thought Wall of Eyes would for sure be black. So I kind of did this like horror-themed cave-dwelling wall of blobby eyes that stare at this little tiny adventurer. There's just all these eyes just staring at him. But it's a white card, so that's real interesting. One of the things that I loved about Magic is that the art on the cards that we love it's kind of random. And one of the things that Ryan mirrored about his project from the original creation of Magic the Gathering is that kind of randomness where artists did not get much information or sometimes even much time to make a piece of art. They just got a prompt and they had to go ahead and make it. So I wanted to show off, besides the cards that I had the pleasure of doing the art for, I wanted to show off some of my favorite cards aesthetically in the set. So this one is illustrated by Drew Tucker. You guys should be very familiar with that name. It's Cambridgian Labyrinth for 3 white white. It is an enchantment. White creatures do not tap when attacking. Non-white creatures come into play tapped. That is a pretty powerful ability. I think this is probably playable in Commander, for sure. This is a really cool card. I really love the artwork. It's got this beautiful sense of light and space, and the composition is out of this world. I think it's an absolutely fantastic piece of art. Guilt and anxiety trap the mind in circles within circles, but confusion and faith give a straight path forward. Elder Wheat. Wheat? Wheat. Here is Drop of Flesh. I really like the art on this card. I think it's probably one of my favorite arts that Ryan made himself. I think it's beautifully illustrated. It's very reminiscent of classic Magic cards with the swirly spiral background for an artifact. That marbled effect, that marbled paper effect. It is Drop of Flesh for black. Enchant artifact. May only be played on non-creature artifact. Target artifact becomes a 2/3 black artifact creature with black regenerate. See, no creation should be considered complete without flesh to feel pain and a mind to comprehend it. What does that say? Irma of Ravenshaw. Ravenshaw. Ooh, here's a cool one. This was illustrated by Shannon Nelson, another prominent figure in the misprint community. Pillars of Enton Fastum. It is an artifact for 3. Tap to deal 1 damage to a creature you control, and you gain 1 life. You may only use this ability during your upkeep. Tap, pay 2 life. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. You may only use this ability during your upkeep. This is a piece of art that was hand painted, and it is in, I want to say the style, but it's really an homage to Basinski, who's a very famous artist who does these really incredible pieces of art that look like this. So this is a really cool card, and I wanted to show it off to you guys. This is Uncle Ambrose. I really like the art on this card. Summon Legend. It was illustrated by Fred R. Dunn. I don't know who that is. I Google searched it just to make sure he wasn't a magic artist, but I think he's just one of Ryan's friends who is a fantastic artist, because check this guy out. I think he's got a fantastic style. I think aesthetically the card is just very pleasing and absolutely perfect for Uncle Ambrose. For 3 GG, he is a Summon Legend. He counts as an elf. You sacrifice a forest to gain 2 life. That is a really powerful ability. Sacrifice Uncle Ambrose. Return all forests from your graveyard to your hand. Hey, synergy. When Uncle Ambrose goes to your graveyard, shuffle it into your library instead. My god, it's synergy upon synergy upon synergy. This is a really cool card. He's only a 2/3 for 5 mana, but look at that ability. That is a way to stay alive in a game. He's definitely Commander playable if you ask me. And let's see. It is said the trees of his orchard move and speak, and that his cider gives youth. I don't know if that's true, but I'll keep drinking it just in case. Suli the Guide. Now, this is misprintedmtg.com, so I figured I should show you some Farport misprints that I have. Here is a miscut Hurtingug. You could see the border of the next card, and actually you could even see how their borders were done. I guess to save a little bit of ink, he didn't go with the full black borders that Wizards of the Coast uses when it prints sheets, and that probably saved him a lot of ink. And you can see same on the back. So this is my miscut Hurtingug, or my Erdingug. And here's a really cool misprint. It's a Wobe bark frog where you get to see 2 sheet edges and the connecting corner. This is in theory possible with Magic the Gathering cards. I've seen cards that have come very close to it, but nothing that shows the entire corner of a miscut, except on NFC cards, and we all know that doesn't count. So here's my miscut Wobe bark frog. I think it's really cool. Same on the back. And that, my friends, is a nice little preview of Farport. If you are interested in picking up some Farport, what you need to do is you need to send a private message to Ryan W. Rooks on Facebook, and he will hook you up. Farport was initially released for only a weekend. So it was a Friday evening to Monday morning release for people to go ahead and order it, but he still has sets available that you can order and get that money donated to the March of Dimes charity. So I highly urge you to do that. I've played the set. It is a ton of fun. It's like old magic. And thanks for watching, everyone.